You trapped in the cult? Does the sweat-soaked GI feel less like armor and more like a straitjacket? You poured your soul onto those mats, believing it was the path to strength, believing it was the path to family, believing it was the path to a better version of yourself. But now, the silence between training sessions is deafening, filled with a gnawing unease. You've stumbled into something darker than a sport. You've found the mat matrix. It is a system meticulously designed that looks like a community but functions like a cage. It promises empowerment while systematically stripping away your autonomy, your relationships, and your very sense of self. Until the only person you recognize is the one reflected in the gym's dusty mirror, tired and obedient. This video is not an attack on a martial art. It is a lifeline. It is a raw, unflinching look at how the culture surrounding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can curdle into something toxic and controlling. The mat matrix is the term for this phenomenon, a world that feels complete, vital, and all-encompassing from the inside, but from the outside, it is a closed loop of control. It uses the language of discipline to enforce conformity, the promise of belonging to demand isolation, and the structure of a belt hierarchy to create an unassailable power dynamic. This is for everyone who feels the bitter sting of this truth, who feels the guilt and shame of wanting to escape the very thing they were told would save them. You are not alone in this feeling. Many have walked this path, their bodies aching from more than just sparring, their minds bruised by a psychological game they never consented to play. Your journey to freedom starts now. It always begins with a promise. You walk into the gym searching for something more. Here, you are offered a clear path, a tribe. People learn your name. They cheer for your small victories. Instantly you feel seen, part of something bigger. This belonging is reinforced through shared struggle, forging powerful bonds. The gym offers a clear ladder of progress, the colored belts, tangible symbols of your dedication. But these positive elements are not the end goal. They are the tools of recruitment. You're so captivated you don't see that the price of this belonging is eventually your own sovereignty. Transformation is gradual, almost imperceptible at first, and it starts with an extra training session here, a weekend seminar there. You tell yourself it's about dedication. You want to get better, faster, but soon the mat becomes the center of your universe, a gravitational force pulling everything else into its orbit. Family dinners are missed. Old hobbies fade. You stop calling friends from your pre-jiu-jitsu life not out of malice, but because you have less and less in common with them. Your conversations become dominated by techniques. Gym gossip, upcoming competitions. Your world begins to shrink. Your identity follows suit, narrowing until it is almost entirely defined by your role within the gym. You are no longer John, the accountant who loves hiking. You are John, the new blue belt. Your self-worth becomes inextricably linked to your performance on the mat. A good training session leaves you feeling euphoric. A night of being repeatedly submitted can send you into a spiral of self-doubt and frustration. The question, who am I, is slowly replaced by, how good am I at jiu-jitsu? This is a dangerous trade, a complex identity swapped for a simple hierarchical one dependent on approval. The mat matrix further isolates you by creating a unique subculture with its own language, inside jokes, social norms. To outsiders, your talk of kimuras, barambolas, smash passing is indecipherable. This barrier makes you more connected to training partners and more disconnected from everyone else. Your social media becomes a highlight reel of training. You spend free time watching instructionals, analyzing matches. The system provides a complete, self-contained world, leaving you little time or energy for anything outside it. This isolation is a feature-increasing dependency. Ultimately, when your identity is wrapped in the gym, leaving feels like self-annihilation. The trap is thinking you cannot be anyone beyond those walls. In the mat matrix, language is not just for communication, it is a tool for control. The gym is governed by a lexicon of conformity where words like loyalty, respect, family are weaponized. Loyalty becomes a one-way obligation to coach and team. Questioning techniques or business practices is framed as disrespect. Family creates a conditional bond. Rituals reinforce control. Bowing at the mat edge, lining up by rank, prescribe ways of addressing the instructor. Harmless tradition in a healthy gym. Exercises in submission in a toxic one. Daily reminders of hierarchy condition you to accept your place. Small acts of deference accumulate and erode autonomy. You learn to follow orders. You learn to quiet your instincts. You learn to defer to higher belt authority, especially the coach. The hierarchy is the backbone of the mat matrix. The coach, charismatic, skilled, sits atop the pyramid. Their word is treated as gospel. Mentor, life coach, gatekeeper of progress. Their ego, insecurities, and biases shape gym culture. You're not a customer paying for a service. You're a disciple seeking enlightenment. Your worth is measured by proximity to the leader. This mirrors high-control groups and cults. A charismatic leader demanding loyalty, rigid hierarchy dividing in-group from out-group, rituals and special language reinforcing identity and isolation. Dissent is punished, conformity is rewarded, the system breaks down individual will and remolds you. You may learn real techniques, but you're also being taught a hidden curriculum of obedience and submission. That curriculum can damage your ability to think for yourself. One of the most powerful forces keeping people tethered to the mat matrix is the sunk cost fallacy. This is the psychological trap that convinces you to continue simply because you have already invested so much. Think of the hours, hundreds, maybe thousands. Think of the sweat, the injuries, the sacrifices. You have poured your life into this. The thought of walking away and having it amount to nothing is unbearable. The system uses your hard work against you, whispering, "You've come too far to quit now." The logic is flawed but emotionally potent. The financial chains are just as strong. BJJ is not cheap. Monthly membership fees, GIS, rash guards, gear, seminars framed as unmissable with hefty price tags, competition registration, travel, hotel stays. You may have spent thousands, even tens of thousands. This becomes another justification for staying. This investment is more than time and money. It is emotional, hopes, dreams, identity, the friends you made, the approval you earned, the person you became. To leave feels like betraying the group and the self you worked to become. They'll remind you, remember when you were a white belt? Look how far you've come. You can't throw that all away. Emotional manipulation makes you feel guilty for even considering leaving. The sunk cost trap creates inertia. Even when you see harm, mental health suffering, life unbalanced, it feels impossible to change course. Easier to endure familiar pain than face perceived loss. But this is the illusion. The time, the money, the effort are already spent. They are sunk costs. Staying does not recoup them. It forces more of your future, your well-being, your happiness, your life into a system that harms you. Breaking free means seeing the real loss is not in leaving but in staying. There is a moment for everyone trapped in the mat matrix when the mask falls. It is not a gentle slip. It is a violent tearing, a brutal revelation that the world you believed in is a facade. Triggers vary. A serious injury mishandled by the coach, witnessing the public shaming of a teammate, discovering financial exploitation, or a betrayal of trust by those you called family. Suddenly, the inspirational speeches sound hollow. The camaraderie feels conditional. The coach's charisma seems carefully crafted. The system is not designed for your growth. It is designed for its own preservation. Friendships contingent on obedience. Support tied to performance and group glory. You see sacrifices as payments to a system that gave little lasting value. You feel utterly used. Physical and mental health crater. Aches you trained through, anxiety and depression rooted in manipulation. Stress of performing and conforming takes a heavy toll. You feel exhausted physically, emotionally, spiritually, hollowed out. Disillusionment brings shame and guilt. You feel foolish for being deceived, for not seeing red flags, for wanting to belong so badly you ignored your instincts. Self-recrimination paralyzes you. It makes leaving harder. The system conditioned you to believe any failure is your own. This realization feels like the ultimate personal failure. But this is the mat matrix's last trick. The shame is not your weakness. It proves the system's insidious power. Deciding to leave is one thing. Actually walking away is another. It is not a clean break. It is a storm. The moment you signal your departure, the system often turns with surprising ferocity. They alternate between feigned concern and outright emotional blackmail, reminding you of good times, how much they invested in you. When that fails, the tone shifts. You may be accused of being a traitor, of being weak, of quitting on your family. Praise becomes weaponized shame. Backlash aims to isolate you. Friends go silent, delete you, cut off contact. Organized shunning says life outside is lonely and cold. Other times, rumors and gossip spread inside the gym and across the wider community. Your character is assassinated. Motives twisted as unstable, disloyal, ungrateful, a warning to others. You may face direct confrontation, angry messages, calls, even public face-offs. The US versus them mentality casts you as the enemy. Fear of gossip is potent. Fear of physical aggression can be paralyzing, scaring many back into compliance or silence. This period tests your resolve. The storm is designed to break you and force you back. It preys on loyalty, fear of being alone, desire to avoid conflict. It is control's final, desperate attempt. Enduring requires strength, accepting conditional relationships, weathering gossip and anger without losing conviction. Understand, this painful reaction isn't proof you chose wrong. It's definitive proof you chose right. Escaping the mat matrix is the first step, but the road to recovery is longer. The void can feel vast. Your schedule, once packed, is now empty. Your social circle decimated. First, acknowledge the harm and give yourself permission to heal. Say it out loud. This was not my fault. I was in a controlling environment. I have a right to be happy and healthy. This self-validation is your foundation. Be patient. Healing isn't linear. Reclaim your life piece by piece. Start small. Reconnect with one old friend. Pick up a hobby you abandoned. Walk in nature. Read a book not about fighting. Cook a meal you enjoy. Plant flags of identity in spaces once colonized by the gym. Set firm boundaries. Block numbers. Delete connections. Refuse to engage in arguments. You do not owe anyone an explanation. I do not wish to discuss this is a complete sentence. If harassment continues, document it. Keep records of threatening messages or unwanted contact. Seeking professional help is strength. A therapist versed in high control groups or trauma can help process guilt and shame and rebuild self-worth. Rebuild identity from the ground up. What do I care about? What brings me joy? What are my values? Discover new passions or rediscover old ones, healthier communities, creative work, volunteer efforts, career purpose. Build a life so full and vibrant that the shadow of the mat loses power. Your worth is not determined by a belt or a coach's approval. Your worth is inherent. Reclaiming this truth is the ultimate victory. Once you have found your footing, you may feel a pull to use your experience for good. Your story is a powerful tool, warning flare for those entering the mat matrix, beacon of hope for those trapped inside. Speaking out is not about revenge. It is about justice. It is about prevention. When you're ready and safe, consider sharing your story. Anonymous forums, quiet talks with trusted friends, contributions to investigations. Your voice adds to a growing chorus that cannot be ignored. Demand accountability from the BJJ community. Call for better governance, clear codes of conduct for coaches, transparent business practices. Gym owners are not gurus, they are service providers. Students are not disciples, they are customers with the right to safety and respect. Encourage critical thinking, empower students to ask questions without fear, promote a healthy work-life training balance, not scorn, dismantle toxic hero worship of coaches, establish real oversight, support those who speak out. When someone shares abuse or manipulation in a BJJ gym, believe them. Do not participate in victim discrediting. Offer support. Amplify their voice if safe. Stand in solidarity. Build networks and spaces to heal. The fight against the mat matrix is a fight for the soul of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Ensure this art empowers. Reject exploitation. Reclaim it from charismatic tyrants and cult-like structures. Use your anger as fuel for constructive action. Use your story to educate. Use your freedom to help free others. You have survived the system. Now let's work together to dismantle it. One story, one conversation, one brave act at a time. The mat should be a place of growth, not a cage. Thank you. As we recently reached the 450 subscriber mark, please comment, like, share, and subscribe so that we can start our next milestone of 500 subscribers. Follow us with a video on the screen and we will see you there. Thank you.